The paradoxes of modern society and the wisdom to survive. Number 15.
Do you think that false accusations in those cases are actually useful in preventing spontaneous crimes that lead to terrorism and other catastrophes?
This is a very difficult question, but in conclusion, I think that false accusations may be useful for temporary stability in the short term, but in the long term, they are likely to be counterproductive. Point 1. False accusations may be useful for social stability in the short term. If we assume that false accusations are intentionally created, they may contribute to short-term social stability in the following ways. 1. Venting anger. When dissatisfaction and stress accumulate in society, people need to direct that anger somewhere. If the government or those in power are directed at that anger, anti-government demonstrations, riots, and revolutions may occur. To prevent this, a scapegoat is created to direct the anger toward them. Example: when the public becomes dissatisfied due to an economic downturn, corruption cases involving politicians and companies are widely reported, and the public's anger is focused on them. 2. Maintaining order. If the rules of society are completely broken, the risk of lawlessness and terrorism increases. It has a psychological effect of making people feel relieved when someone is caught. Even if the perpetrator is not the real culprit, the fact that the perpetrator has been caught stabilizes society. Example: when citizens are anxious about an unsolved violent crime, forcibly arresting someone calms the anxiety in society. Point 2. However, it can have the opposite effect in the long term. It may lead to stability in the short term, but in the long term, the existence of false accusations may actually increase the probability of a major disaster, such as terrorism. 1. Collapse of trust in society. If false accusations increase and are revealed, the awareness that the government and the judiciary cannot be trusted spreads. When people lose faith in society's rules and justice, they may turn to extreme ideas, believing that the only way to enforce justice is by myself. Example: people who believe that the government and judiciary are corrupt join anti-establishment organizations, terrorists, extremist groups. 2. Real criminals are left free to run. The risk of reoffending increases when the real perpetrators who should have been arrested escape. Criminals who have been successful once may think that the judiciary system in this country is sloppy, and commit even bolder crimes. Example: the mastermind of a terrorist attack continues to flee, expands his organization, and plans a larger-scale attack. 3. Repressed anger explodes. Even if people temporarily deflect their anger, they will eventually realize that something is wrong with this society. And when that anger explodes, it leads not to mere protests, but to large-scale riots, revolutions, and terrorism. Example: if a person who is falsely accused is later proven innocent, society will be greatly shaken and the government will collapse. Point 3. Summary: false accusations are a symptomatic treatment, and not a fundamental solution. In the short term, it may bring temporary stability. However, in the long term, it will cause society to lose trust and increase the risk of large-scale crime and riots. Therefore, if there is really a structure in which false accusations are used to prevent catastrophes, I think that it is merely a symptomatic treatment, and not a fundamental solution. Rather, since there is a higher risk of society collapsing due to false accusations in the long term, shouldn't we think about ways to maintain social stability without creating false accusations? What alternatives do you think there are to this problem?